Raz, dva, raz, dva!
All right, we made it to Prague, ladies and gentlemen. Kelly McConey is in the house. It's Sunday night. I'm here all week for meetings. Kelly McConey is going to be doing some sightseeing, and I'm just buried in meetings this week. But Kelly's going to see some of the city. This week, we're talking about Cultural Awareness Volume 3. As a business person, what do you need to be mindful of when you come to the city of Prague? All right, let's get this week going, shall we? First time I came here was in 1997. A little bit of history. Prague had its first democratically elected leader in 1989, the famous author Havel. And then in 1993, Richard almost got run over. In 1993 was when the Czechoslovakia was broken up between the Czech Republic and Slovakia. The first time I came here, there weren't many tourists. It was really a fascinating time to come to the country. So let's explore some of the city, shall we? All right, I am here with Phil Ramstetter. Phil is the manager in our international tax services practice. Phil is doing a 9-month tour in Paris.
So I'm working at BIAC, which is the Business and Industry Advisory Council at the OECD. It's kind of the UN for economic policy.
Okay. All right. So this is the famous Charles Bridge. This is one of the first places that I came to in my very first backpacking experience in Europe. You can see the Grand Palace in the background. There's the entrance to the bridge. And then behind me is a big church. Prague, ladies and gentlemen, Prague. Just had an amazing lunch. Historically in Prague, waiters were not compensated with tips. And you see this actually throughout Europe. You don't get the same type of service that you'll sometimes see in the States, and you need to be patient. And one of the reasons is because they're hourly waged employees as opposed to tip incentive. And so we just had a lunch experience which was consistent with that, in that, you know, they'll kind of get to your table when they get to your table. And it's not that the service is bad, it's just that they have different incentives than what we have in the US, and you just need to get used to that. This is the Vltava River, Vltava. It's spelled V-L-T-A-V-A. The problem when I come to certain countries like the Czech Republic or Holland is they oftentimes don't have vowels between the consonants, and so it's difficult to pronounce some of these words. And to be culturally aware, you just need to ask. The other cultural awareness tip I wanted to give is, in Europe, when they're doing the date, in the US, we do month, day, year, but in Europe, it's day, month, and year. So just be mindful, particularly if things are getting scheduled out ahead of time, to make sure that you get the month and the day right. I think a lot of Europeans are more mindful of the way the Americans do it, as opposed to Americans being mindful of the way Europeans do it. All right, back to my meetings. So one of the other things that I've learned from the book Kiss, Bow, and Shake Hands is that the Czech people generally are conscious of being on time and timely. So it's important when you're in a new country going to business meetings to understand the culture, to make sure that whether you need to be early, whether it's fashionable to be a little late, or what the protocol is. So I'm gonna go be a little early. What are some of the things that you've learned that are different as far as doing business in Paris versus doing business in the US?
The first thing for me over there is much more of a hierarchy to the arrangement of the work structure. Say in the US we have a hierarchy / pyramid to our structure, but I have day-to-day interaction with you, which is not as common over there in that you are directly reporting to your superior is reporting to their superior, and there's no going around that structure. So if you're at a lower level in the US, you may have more exposure to the top, and they'll know who you are, and whether you produce good or bad product is going to push you to work harder. The other thing is, in the US, or at least at PwC, I was very much tied to my calendar, but things are more flexible and they bleed over, and you may not be as punctual to your next meeting.
So we finished our meetings. I'm out with Kelly and Phil doing a little sightseeing. One of the things that's really important when you show up in a new country, and I've talked about this in some other vlogs, is to learn some simple words. Now, the challenge that we're having is that even the simple words in the Czech Republic are hard to pronounce. But I think Kelly has thank you down. So let's see. How do we say thank you?
Again, it's Dequi.
Dequi.
But it's okay. I know my pronunciation's horrible.
All right, so in the past, you know, leave comments. How's Kelly's pronunciation?
No.
Say it again.
It's bad. No, I'm not saying it again.
Dequi?
You'll have to rewind it.
Dequi.
Or whatever. Is it rewind?
Yeah, you know what, that's easy for me to do.
Yeah.
So Dequi?
Dequi.
Dequi with a D?
Dequi.
Dequi.
I think you're supposed to pronounce the first part.
So if you can only learn one word when you come to a new country, thank you is definitely it.